In the video that I made about preparing your exegesis paper, right towards the end of that I referred to the question of why do we, in seminary professors, why do we require of you what we do? That makes me think more generally about the issue of why I'm doing this, why am I teaching this class? After all, I retired from full-time work a couple of years ago. I've got a pension. I've got Social Security. You know, I can make it. I don't have to be teaching classes and earning more income there just to survive. Although the pay for a university professor is not that great. Just a heads up if that's what you're thinking about for the future. But it kind of goes back to the question of why did I even get involved in ministry in the first place? As you may have read, and I think I have posted a biography on this site. As you may have read, I taught French for a considerable period of time, studied that, and then I was a cabinet maker for about 5 years before entering into ministry. That call came to me while I was in a church service, and the pastor was preaching he was preaching out of Luke, and in chapter 9, where Luke indicates that Jesus set his face towards Jerusalem. Now, I don't remember much about the sermon, but I do remember that towards the end of that sermon, I had the distinct impression that God was calling me into a ministry. And I had no idea what that meant for me. The pastor said that that would take care of itself. God would direct me to where I needed to be. And so for the first couple of years I did student ministry on the big island of Hawaii, but it became increasingly clear for me that I needed to do seminary work. I needed to better understand the Bible, better understand how to deal with people, how to do ministry among other folks. So that's when I began my seminary career, and I did so with, at that time it was called Golden Gate Baptist Theological Seminary. My first 2 years with the seminary were spent at the campus in the Northwest. At that time it was in Oregon. It's in Washington now. I think so, unless it's moved again. In any case, that experience of going to seminary after being a cabinet maker, after having done graduate work in French, and after having lived in a number of different places, that seminary work was profoundly interesting and exposed me to the perspectives of other people, the belief systems of other folks. One of the fellows that I was most closely connected with at the Northwest campus was a fellow from Alabama who, he couldn't have been more different. We were completely different from each other. But we had such an enriching experience of learning together and discussing and wrestling through issues, talking about theology and worship practices and evangelistic methods, everything like that. It was just very valuable for me. So when I had the opportunity about 3 or 4 years ago to begin teaching for the seminary, I was delighted, because I know that you are trying to do your best to understand what God's calling you to do, to understand the Bible, to understand the spiritual life. You're wrestling with that. And I've been there. And I want to help you as you go through that. Not make it easier. No. In some ways make it even more challenging. Because I know what kind of issues you're going to face in ministry. I can guess what will happen for you. I was involved in some ministries that they didn't pay me anything at all. I had to work bivocationally to support myself in ministry. I was in some ministries where I had a boss telling me how I was going to do things. I've worked in a pastoral ministry, and I've worked in an education ministry, and so I've been exposed to areas that I can guess what sorts of things you're going to run into, and I want to help you through that. So in this semester, I hope that you will feel free to contact me when you're facing issues, not just about Old Testament, not just why is Nahum in the Bible or that sort of thing, but issues that you face in your ministry and in your spiritual development. I want you to know that I'm retired. I've got the time. I'm ready to spend time with you, talking about what's critical, what's important to you. Okay, so that's just to give you a little bit of background on me, on my spiritual journey. Most of my professional work in ministry has been with academic institutions, so I'm really tuned to that. But I remain active in a teaching ministry within my church and missions projects and that sort of thing. I stand ready to be an assistant to you as you go through your journey in the seminary. Okay, we'll talk later.